Hey guys. Someone else was in the place where I usually film my videos, but it's fine. We just relocated for the moment. Chapter 3 of my teacher glows in the dark. Oh no, I lost my place. Okay. Chapter 3 is called The Naked Stranger. Oh, what happened last was Peter is going in the spaceship with Broxholm, and he was like, about to board the ship called the New Jersey. So, sarcasm? Did that mean Broxholm had a sense of humor? The idea fascinated me, but this didn't seem like the time to ask about it, since I had more important questions in mind, such as, why won't it be fun? I'll tell you later, replied Broxholm, if I am able. Right now, I have business to attend to. His hands moved swiftly across the control board, which looked like a lot of marbles embedded in a sheet of black concrete. Sometimes he pushed the marbles, or whatever they were, and sometimes he rolled them. Sometimes he tapped them. Suddenly, a face appeared at the right of the panel. To my surprise, it didn't look like Broxholm. The forehead was low, the skull was wide, and the skin a strange shade of yellow. Orbis dictum, asked the face. Broxholm requesting emergency landing status. I have one young earthling with me. I wondered why he spoke in English until I remembered that his implant forced him to. Clearly the alien understood him anyway. Hoopla datum, cried the face. Its skin turned orange and the screen went blank. He's not happy, is he? I said. But he asked a question, so it should be I asked. That was a she, and as I was supposed to arrive 6 hours later with a total of 5 children, all of whom were supposed to be asleep, she is naturally somewhat disturbed. By this time, the docking beam had pulled us most of the way in. Imagine you're a flea. Now imagine you're walking through the door of the Empire State Building. That's what it was like for me going into the ship. For a while, all I could think of was, this thing is so big. Then my mind did a little flip, and I started thinking, I am so small. Then I got sort of confused between being afraid and being excited. Also, I had to go to the bathroom. The docking beam pulled us into the area that had to be 3 times as long as a football field. The walls, which were about 1,000 feet high, were lined with huge shelves. About half the shelf spaces were filled with spaceships. None of the ships looked anything like Broxholm's. When we were about 3/4 of the way across this space, the docking beam deposited us on a shelf. Broxholm did one of his nose sighs. Time to face the music, he said. Given how much Broxholm hated music, that sounded worse coming from him than it would have from anyone else I had ever met. Or was it just his language implant, changing his words into a common English phrase? I didn't have time to ask, because the top of the ship flipped. We began to float into the air. About a meter above the ship we started to drift in different directions. Broxholm, I cried. What's going on? We have to be disinfected, he answered as a hole opened in the wall in front of me. I struggled, but it was like fighting with air. No matter how I twisted, the invisible beam held me in its grip. It's like Creeblem's spatula thing holding Duncan. Feet first, flat on my back, floating 100 feet above the floor of the docking area, I was pulled into a small white room shaped like an egg that's been stood on end. Brana praxim piedungi prit, said a musical voice. I looked around, which didn't take long since the whole chamber wasn't more than 4 feet wide. I couldn't see whoever had spoken the words. I couldn't even see a device that the words might have come from. Grana praxim pidungi prit, repeated the voice gently. A picture appeared on the wall. It showed an alien, one who looked completely different from Broxholm, standing in a room like this. As I watched, the alien took off its clothes. I blinked in surprise, then I remembered the last thing Broxholm had said to me. We have to be disinfected. They wanted me to take off my clothes. Now, just a ding-dang minute, I said. Rana praxim bidungi pidungi prit, said the voice again. Sorry, I don't do naked in front of strangers. Either whoever was speaking didn't understand me or didn't care. A blue beam flashed down from the ceiling, locking me in place. It was a force field, just like the one Broxholm had used to keep Miss Schwartz a prisoner. I tried to struggle, but I couldn't even scream. Everything stops when you're in a force field. I heard the slightest of noises behind me. I tried to turn to see what had made it. I couldn't, of course. The force field held me firm. Suddenly, something tickled down my back. What was going on? I heard the same noise in front of me. From the wall came a tiny ray of light, a laser beam. Starting at my chin, the laser moved all the way down to my feet. I couldn't see it all the way down because I couldn't bend my head, but I could feel the tickle. A few more tickles down my arms, around my legs, and suddenly the force field disappeared. I could move again. The only problem was the instant I did, my clothes all fell off. The laser had sliced my shirt, my pants, my shoes, and my socks, even my underwear, into pieces, and had done it all without touching my skin. Get me out of here, I yelled. Give me some clothes. No answer. Did that mean there wasn't anyone there? Just as well, I decided, since I didn't have any clothes on. But how long were the aliens going to leave me here? Or was someone watching me even now? Watching but not speaking. That made sense in a way. If the alien mission was to study Earthlings, then probably they were doing that right now, especially since I was the only one they had. I decided if I was going to be the sample Earthling, I was going to do my best not to act like an idiot. So I began to take deep breaths. I felt myself getting a little calmer. I mean, it wasn't like no one had ever seen me naked before. I've been to the doctor, and next year I would be taking showers in gym class. Come to think of it, given my choice of getting stuck naked in front of a bunch of aliens or in a 7th grade gym class, I choose the aliens any day. At least they won't flick your butt with a wet towel. Unfortunately, just as I was getting calm, my little chamber started to fill with gas. Was this a test to see if I would panic? Were they going to knock me out and do some medical exams? Or were they going to kill me and dissect me? I held my breath until my lungs were screaming for air. When I couldn't resist any longer, I took a deep, gasping breath. Prendit Kuma, said the same voice I had heard before. Weird music-like sounds began drifting into the chamber. As I felt myself begin to get drowsy, I heard a slight hiss and saw a purple mist filtering down from the ceiling. I wanted to hold my breath again, but I didn't seem to have the willpower. The music played on. It wasn't like anything you or I would recognize as music, but it was beautiful. My eyelids drooped. Soon I slumped against the side of the chamber and slid to the floor, naked, sound asleep. That's the end of chapter 3 of My Teacher Glows in the Dark. This is my bookmark. It's of the Mandalorian. That's not the Mandalorian. Anyways. After I finish this series, what would you guys like to hear me read? I have lots of books. And I can probably buy a couple too, if you guys want it so badly. So, just in the comments, what other book do you want to hear? We have all of, 1 through 7 of Chronicles of Narnia. If you want to hear that, we have all of those. So, goodbye. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I post videos. Bye.